republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and good evening. Before we start, I just have a couple recognitions that I want to shout out to everybody. First is I want to recognize the 40th anniversary of Pratt's Hobby Shop here in town. It's their 40th anniversary of doing business in Georgetown, so congratulations on that. That's fantastic news, and we know it's quite the iconic spot here in town, and multiple generations have had their scouts cars and weighed and taken care of over there, so congratulations on that, Mr. Pratt, and we hope you have many more years of success. And then the other shout out, would like to recognize the Pete Durkee and the gentleman at the Highway Department, Mike Anderson, and the staff, maintenance staff over at the school department, and Chief Cudmore for thinking out of the box and saving this town $40,000. We were looking at replacing the stairs over at the Georgetown Middle High School, and those three teams got together, actually replaced the stairs, got it done on a penny instead of a $40,000 tab. So we are indebted and just thrilled to death to see you guys pulling together and figuring it out and saving the town $40,000. So thank you for your efforts.
John, did you inspect those?
I was out there today.
All right, good.
We'll talk about
And you're not on crutches, so that's probably a good thing, right, John? All right, gentlemen, on this this first stuff, warrant to be signed. You guys all took care of that, and we have executive session minutes to approve for April 14th, 2014. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes for April 14th, 2014 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. General session minutes for December 16th, 2013. Is there any discussion on that?
Yeah, I'd like to discuss page 3. On the second paragraph, second line, where it states that Mr. Fowler stated that if the board is dysfunctional, that was why the board was not reappointed, which sort of sounded like we weren't reappointing them because of theirs. What more the line I was going down was, and what I'd like it to change to was that the board is dysfunctional because the Board of Selectmen had not reappointed the Personnel Board since June of 2013. That was the road that I was going down.
Okay. Any issues? All right.
There was one.
Any others on there?
Well, there was just one other small one, and that was on the first thing to nominate Christopher Rich. It was Phil who seconded my motion, not Mr. Surface.
Okay. All right, anything else on those?
That's
Okay.
all, yeah.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve those with the amendments.
Mr. Chair, I so moved. You already said say those dates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve February 10, 2014 minutes.
So moved. No,
Sec-
there's two sets of minutes here.
Are there two in there?
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, I move
Oh.
that we approve the executive session
Thank you.
for 2/10/2014.
I don't think those minutes are actually there, is it?
I see February 10.
No, it's just listed on the top that
It's
we
listed.
Oh, I'm
This
sorry,
is
yeah,
not
okay,
the
there's a
actual
February
minutes.
10, which is C, right?
Yeah. You're looking at the top.
Yep, sorry, so we have February 10, and then
Yeah.
April 14th.
Yeah, what it is, I believe Janet's got stated that we have an executive session, but this is not the minutes
That's
for
not the
that,
minutes,
correct?
it's just
Correct.
stating
Alright.
having an executive
Fair
session.
enough. And Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the general meeting for February 10th, 2014 minutes.
All right, any discussion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Aye. All right, I'll entertain a motion for the April 14th minutes of 2014.
So moved.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. All right, next on our agenda this evening, we have 17 through 19 West Main Street, The Spot. We are discussing the Fascade, and the building inspector is present, and we have Richard Griffin, who is the architect on the project. So, gentlemen, please come forward and let us know what's going on and how we can assist.
A few sets of drawings along you might want to show me.
You give them copies.
We've got some smaller copies.
Smaller.
We like the
So
big
you-
copies.
We'll be
Have-
glad
have a
to
big
take
one.
We like the
easier
big
on my
copies.
eyes.
Draw them all the way.
Much easier on the eyes. So, John, if you would, John's our building inspector, if you would, we have a letter from you, right? We have a copy of it, that is denying basically the request, I guess, is that how I would best frame it?
Correct, yep.
And do you want to just take us through A to Z and kind of explain what's going on, and love to hear your point of view, your opinion, your advocacy, your issues, whatever those might be.
So, the property is a pre-existing, non-conforming restaurant. It's located in the CA zone. The non-conformity is the lot size and the frontage, the way our bylaw is written. Any changes to a non-conforming use like this or building has to go to the zoning board of appeals. So that's the first part of my denial.
Okay.
I send them to the zoning board of appeals for a finding and a special permit that the proposed use is not more detrimental than the existing use.
Okay.
It's the same use. And that the proposed facade will not be more detrimental than the existing facade. The second portion is the signage. If you look at the front facade as shown, by the definition of a sign in our bylaw, there are 3 signs on the front of this building, and the zoning bylaw allows for no more than 1 sign. So that portion of 3 signs would require a variance.
Okay.
Then the part that I've struggled with was the awning across the front. If you look at, hopefully you have a page G2, which is the plot plan. That roof across the front facade, which is, a real, feature on this design. It's integral, I guess, to the design. Extends beyond the front. So the front facade of the building is located directly on the property line, which is allowed in this zone. No, 0 setbacks are allowed in the CA zone. So that roof or awning type section actually extends over the property line onto town land. And I believe that the existing conditions also do that, but
Photograph to submit.
So the existing roof line
right now, the mansard
is about the
style
same?
roof.
Is about the same?
It's exactly the same, yes.
Okay.
So would that roof line be coming down? And this awning coming on,
Yes,
being
in
put
fact,
on,
the
or is the
whole-
awning going on top of your roof line that you have?
Yeah, no, we're thoroughly renovating the front of the building per the drawings. So we're going to take that sort of red half
That overhang?
timber off, the overhang off,
Okay.
and build up flush with the face of the building, more of a, we're trying to get sort of more of a, closer to a 2-story effect with
Yep.
the front of the building. And it just seemed to us that the awning would be a little bit higher than what this one is. It would be about close to 9 feet above the ground, and but it would break up the facade in a nice way. I also brought along a picture of similar standing seam metal roof awnings, to give you an idea of the general sense of what they look like. And we think it would be probably left in plain aluminum and aesthetically, and the lettering of the signage might also be an aluminum plate letter, and we haven't finalized the whole color scheme, but we want it to be compatible with the surroundings. And
Okay.
So what, this roof, nowhere in the zoning bylaw or in state law does it allow me, as a building inspector, to issue a permit on someone else's land. So this is land that is owned by the town of Georgetown. The only process that I can come up with would be if the town would feel it appropriate and grant an easement for that roof.
Question?
So that would be a town meeting
Okay.
vote.
Yes, sir.
Years ago, I'm the one who can go back years ago here.
Yeah.
Most all the buildings, I was telling Mike downstairs, had crank-out awnings.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of them still have them left.
There's some pictures at the Honeydew that show that.
That's what there might even be a picture here. I meant to look before the meeting
Yeah.
to see if there was a picture here. Now, would a crank-out type awning, I know that may not be what you're looking for, but would something of that sort need the same variance as you feel, or?
I think if it cranked in and was wholly on the property, no, it wouldn't need.
But if, when they put it out, it would be,
By putting it out, I think the thing that's most important is if there's any work that ever has to be done on the town land, that you can get an excavator or backhoe in and do that work.
understandable, yeah. So what you're saying
So
is,
a temporary roof that rolls back, I think, would not be an issue.
do you think that that could be a viable alternative, sir? or-
well, I think with the sort of aesthetic of this building, a standing seam metal projection would be more in keeping with what we had in mind. That said, we'll work with what we get, and I think there are along Main Street, is it 1 West Main Street that has the red awnings all around the building?
Yeah.
Those project substantially further and don't crank back. And right next door, you have the pizza factory that also projects 2.5 feet. So there's sort of, on either side, there's that precedent for a fairly, certainly the pizza factory has a permanent roof and this is a fairly light roof. I think that, it's, if people hate it, it's the sort of thing you can unscrew and take down, but, but I think it's going to be attractive, and I think it will be a nice solution. And it is going to be somewhat higher over the sidewalk than the present overhang, so it's going to be another almost 2 feet higher, and I think that will afford, machinery and so forth to get under it more easily, if that's ever an issue.
And if needed, you could remove it in case they needed to address it?
Exactly, yeah, it's going to be a bolt-on fixture. It will be just bolted on with metal hardware.
Okay. Questions, any?
Well, I think that what you are proposing to do here would be a wonderful addition and would improve the downtown area. So,
Yeah, it looks great.
one,
right?
we certainly can appreciate that. And I know there's quite a few hurdles to go through when you're dealing with a non-conforming existing building. But, John, the buildings that are next door that have the awnings, are those in compliance with us?
I looked-
They just put them up, just being ignorant, not knowing it?
I'm not certain.
Okay.
Gary mentioned some of the old pictures. A lot of them have had them before
Yep.
zoning, so it could be a situation where they've been there since before zoning, and it's
Not that I would ask you to consider taking them down, I just wanted to.
right. Yeah. Then
To be fair on that. The photos that or the drawings that you've given us, the height of which you're asking us to do, to approve, this easement, Mike, maybe you can help me. So, would an easement go with the building or go with the property? It would go with the building, right? And not with the owner of the restaurant.
Right, it's
Right.
permanent.
Property
So it
owner.
would be perpetual easement? Okay. Gotcha. And, but we couldn't put a time limit on an easement, could we?
I don't think you can.
Well-
You ever heard of a temporary easement?
Well,
I
there
mean,
are-
Seen some,
there
yeah.
are,
they-
I think you could put it. below.
drainage and work, working on property, other people's property, but this is the other way around.
And I wouldn't necessarily look at an easement for a period of just a few years. That's, I would consider, if it made sense, and I haven't thought this through yet, but, maybe a 20-year easement or something like that. So we at least had the right to
Sure.
review it and to the next owners down the road or something.
Mhm.
I'm all for it. I mean, I think that what you're trying to do is great. I know that you've got to work with the other town committees here to approve the requests that you are asking for, but I think this is fantastic.
Thank you.
Now,
Well, mine would be to procedure. I mean, are we the right people right now? I see some people from the zoning board here, and I mean, are we the right place to be right now for this? I mean, are you looking for the easement? I guess if you were, we might be the right people, but I don't think that we can, I think it's actually a town meeting,
Town meeting, right?
or that would be the procedure.
Mhm.
Oh, and I imagine the zoning can't grant this type of thing. They can the other two,
Correct.
it sounded.
yes.
But I also see some benches here, so I mean, they would be sort of in the same,
In that same easement.
I mean, we certainly want places to
Sit and hang out.
do well down there, but I still think if the crank out thing might do it, and it's possible, perhaps go for it, but
So,
the chair has to recognize people like
yeah,
that.
so an easement would have to go to town meeting. Our warrant's closed for this spring town meeting. So it would have to be in the fall, which could be possible, right? It's special town meeting in the fall normally.
Yes,
We could accomplish that if we wanted to go that direction then.
yes.
Okay. So, couple of things. I too, and I don't know Gary's opinion, but I love your design. I think it's fantastic. I think it does well for improving our downtown and the look and the feel and the comfort of downtown, so to speak. The awning would not be detrimental to you opening.
No.
I would not think.
I wouldn't think so.
Because that, obviously, if we go for an easement, that's gonna be, a fall project. So I'm asking the question, I guess, if that would hold you up, number one. Number two, what's your target date? I had heard sometime like mid-June or something like that,
Yes.
if it was going quickly, but what's your target date for opening
Well,
at this
we're,
point?
we're starting the interior fit up now, and that's been underway for the last few days.
Okay.
And we're going before the Board of Appeals on the 3rd of June, I believe is the date. It was very beginning of June.
Really, that's when they meet.
For the signage?
And that will be for signage. So we would like to proceed with the front elevation, during, I guess there would be a 20-day waiting period before
Would be
proceeding.
appeal, yeah.
So it would probably be during July, for example.
To get the front built
To
out?
get the front built out.
Would you plan to open before you build it out?
We may open before we build it
Okay.
out. It depends how fast things go, but
Okay.
there may be.
We'd love to see you open earlier than later.
Right, yeah, and.
Quite frankly, but.
I think, so I think we'd like to, the only thing that's integral with the interior and exterior are the windows.
Right.
And I imagine we could probably put those in without
Any issues?
any issues. So, yes, we'd like to open as soon as possible. And the way the restaurants and retail are, you're losing money until you're making money. So I
Right.
imagine the owners are in a hurry to open.
Back on that procedural question, have you appealed John's decision yet?
Well, I'm about to file tomorrow morning
Okay.
with the application to the Board of Appeals. Yeah.
Because that's where it should go next.
Mhm.
It should go go to the ZBA
For the awning?
for John's
All of it?
Yes.
All the
Gotcha.
other issues.
Okay, all three issues. Very. 1 second, I'll get right to you.
Yep.
Go ahead.
It may be something for the town fall meeting that is actually larger than what you want to do. I think the other place may have put some benches out there.
It does have
And
some.
I don't, and my question would be more probably to John, I would think he knows more about this, but do some cities or towns have ordinances where they allow that type of thing on the town sidewalks and that?
Yep.
And should we perhaps be, as a town, looking at something of that sort? And it may be a good place for the Economic Development Committee. You may wanna go in front of them, or you may end up in front of the planning board. I mean, I'm not sure the procedure of who would wanna put something of that forward, but it may not be a bad thing for the town as a whole to look at if you're going for this.
And we have
variance.
some maybe non-conforming already in there, or
Well,
pre-existing.
most cities with in larger towns, the downtown areas have provisions in their bylaws which allow for projection signs and, they lay ground rules. Unfortunately, our bylaw doesn't address it at all, so if it's not allowed, I cannot allow it.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I thought I was gonna ask, where would be the starting point, I guess, of something of
Well,
that?
for something
planning?
like that, typically, anyone can propose a bylaw change, but those typically come through the planning board.
Yeah, and economic development might not be a bad place to start and get some town backing if the board was behind you to go to the planning board with you also.
So a bylaw change could fix this for future?
Yep.
So that you have, what would you wanna see in a bylaw like that to address?
What I typically do in those situations, I take a poll of some of the ones that are out there, because honestly, there's so much that unforeseen consequences that happen
Right.
with bylaws. And as you read through some of them, you say, oh yeah, I would have never even thought that would,
Yep.
so it's a process.
Yeah, because I wonder if a simple bylaw change might be a fix to our symptom here versus an easement,
Right.
And I think a bylaw change would make more sense overall because of downtown and development and things like that. Plus, we've got some pre-existing awnings on some buildings and things like that, and it would be able to kind of cover everybody. And
Right.
we try to clean up a lot of loose ends in this town, at least this board does, on things like that,
Right,
and,
right.
so there's a couple of options there, I think.
Right.
I'd like to hit the audience, if you guys don't mind. Mr. Greenberg, you were raising your hand.
Well, I'm gonna credit Mr. Fowler for remembering the crank-out awnings. It's necessary, in that area where the gift shop has a brand new awnings and the others we're supposed to follow, okay? If this is a metal awning, is this what you're talking about?
Yes.
Absolutely not be approved in the town of Georgetown. It has to be a canvas awning. I don't care if it's cranked out, Mr. Fowler, but it sure has to be an awning, a canvas awning. That's what we've always approved. That's what this town has always stood by. Someone else tried to do that once, and they look like crap. Excuse my language, but they look terrible. It will not bring a good feeling to your neighbors either, on either side of you. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I mean, I hear your point, and I don't know if you've seen the design, but it works very well. I'll call it like a saloon sort of design almost,
Yeah.
a Western saloon look. And we've got tin roof down at Dana's place, at the liquor store. So.
Talking about a isolated area though, where that liquor store
No,
is.
no, I get it, but I think all in all, the way this design works, you know, if you wanted to eyeball it, certainly take a look, you know, but I appreciate your opinion.
I don't think it represents the town of Georgetown, to be honest with you.
the-
Okay, and I know all about saloons and all of that, my family owned the nightclubs, the Frolics nightclubs. And I know all about the construction and the running of these places.
Yeah.
Is one of my other things I know about.
Okay. Thank you. And is there any bylaw that says we can only do an awning versus
Not that I'm aware of.
a roof line? I mean, we already have a solid roof line on there that's doing the same thing, but with shingles on it,
It's in there.
you know?
If I could,
Yes.
I do question the look of this. I mean, that was gonna be one thing also, that, you know, that the town is trying to go to, would like, I think, to go to a certain look down there. I know when we had, somebody paid to have that drawing done of Little's block, you know.
Oh, right, the rendering.
And I don't think that this does fit in with the way, I mean, I'm not objectionable to it. We have no bylaw that states what we can do. But you hit it right on the nose. I think you said that it's sort of a saloon type look. And I don't really know that that does fit in with the look that some people are hoping to have for the future of the town, so.
Well, I
I
mean,
just wanted to make that statement.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at that versus what we got, I'm liking that a lot better.
Well, I agree that I do think a canvas awning would be more fitting in with what was always there in Georgetown.
No, I-
If in
I
many
hear you.
places you do look to, many times in places of that type, they go back to the older look of what was there perhaps in the 1800s, early 1900s, and metal awnings certainly wouldn't have been fitting. So,
I'll just say I completely disagree. I actually like I like the design. I think it's functional. I think it's aesthetically pleasing. I think that more and more restaurants are using this. It's maintenance-free, and it's up high enough where I don't think it's going to become an issue. And I think I think you should move forward, trying to get through the ZBA to get what you are looking for. And then I think it's up to the building inspector and his input from others in town to determine whether or not we'll allow, if we even need to put a restriction on any metal awnings or not, which I think every case is so different that I don't know why you could broad brush it like that. But I wish you a lot of luck moving forward through this.
Any comments? Jeff, you got anything, any feedback? Any bylaw issue you're finding in there?
No, they do need, Jeff Moore with the zoning board of appeals, just sitting in, like I said, he hasn't submitted his application to us yet, so I
Right.
haven't had a chance to review it, although I have seen the plans, and I've read John's denial. What they need to come to the zoning board for, as John mentioned, are two things. They need a variance for the signage.
Yeah.
John has interpreted the plan that you see, there's three separate signs there.
Right.
That is inconsistent with what's allowed in the bylaw by right. There is no provision in the bylaw to provide specifically special permit for exceeding the signage requirements. And John, correct me if I'm wrong. So in that case, he's denied them on the signage, and they need actually a variance from us for at least that portion of the plan. That's a pretty difficult threshold generally. Again, haven't seen the case in the presentation yet, and that's up to the board to determine, but he's got several different thresholds that have to meet in order to be successful with the variance application. The special permit that he's referring to is any of the modifications that have to be done to the building itself, because it is pre-existing non-conforming. So I think, as they've already pointed out, they can't do any construction to the outside of the building yet without at least a special permit from the zoning board of appeals saying that the modification to that existing non-conforming building as proposed are not substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conformity that exists there now. So there's two different things they're coming to us for, and
Okay.
so
Okay.
just to clarify that, we don't really have anything to do with the easement issue or the awning,
Right.
because we don't have jurisdiction obviously over him doing anything on somebody else's property.
Right.
With the zoning board, our bylaws allow for changes to your own property once you go over. That's, as John says, our bylaw is silent on it, so there's nothing that our board can look
Okay.
to
Alright.
handle that piece.
Well, I
of it.
appreciate you being here, I hope
Yeah,
clarify.
sure.
Mr. Greenberg?
Yeah, also, I remember that the signs all had to be the same. And an area, if you're gonna put up something like that, all the signs should be the same. That's what they did at the shopping center down there, if you look. If somebody down there has changed one of the regular signs or one of the original signs, I don't know where they got the permission to do that from. Maybe the building inspector, I don't know, before this gentleman. But there are differences in signs there, and I think they all should be the same. That's what our bylaw says. Okay, we're looking at page 48, sir. Page 48, the article at the bottom, B, read what B says. It should all be natural to the topographic of the,
That section,
that's downtown.
that section is open space residential developments and doesn't apply.
All right.
No.
Ma'am, you have any comments or no? Anybody? No? Okay, great. So, a couple things. Looks like you have to, appeal the denial, go through the process. In terms of the signage, I just want to address that topic. The way it's set up here is, you've got the center is, obviously the restaurant sign and what I would call the advertisement.
Right.
The other two pieces, one that says left side bar and right side restaurant, I see more as architectural,
Right.
not advertising signage. So, again, I think bylaw, that's a topic, Jeff, you might want to bring to your board about a bylaw review, to be able to have a bylaw rewritten that may be able to address that rather than being just dead silent on it. That at least it gives your board the ability to address it and look at it case by case. Because I think the hard part, obviously, I'm in the property management world, and our lawyers try to write everything up, to address everything. And you do a lease with me, and it's 40 pages long. It's so you can't address everything in a law and in a bylaw, and is specific and clean and black and white as the lawyers like to look at it. So I would make a recommendation to you as chair over there to look at that. And John, same thing on this issue, for this awning type situation. I don't know if I don't really think an easement's really the way to go. I think it's more of a bylaw that makes more sense, and that could be addressed at town meeting. So I'll just say I'll support Phil. Same thing. I love the look of it. I think it's great. I think it adds a lot to the town. I think it cleans up and really makes what is already there even better. And I would just state that, from my perspective, and I don't think we need to take a vote tonight, Mike, or anything like that, right? We're just kind of hearing it out. I think the bar and the restaurant part is more architectural than it is what I would call signage. If Plan B, if you were running into some challenges over there, I think at the ZBA, that maybe you look at it more with some kind of artwork or something that might depict kind of what you're trying to do there, or something. But I would say that you've got your advertisement there in the dead center, and then right and left says bar and restaurant. Can't say it really does a lot different than an awning that goes all the way across and says antiques, candy, and whatever else going down somebody's awning, and the pizza place and everything else. So I'm personally, as Stu Eggenberg, in full support of what you're doing there. And it sounds like Mr. Trapani is, and this gentleman's a little bit in and a little bit out, and
I'm in
but
support
whatever.
of improvements. I'm just,
Yeah.
I don't think anything to hold the gentleman up. I suggested to crank out awning, thinking that might.
And that might be an option too.
quicker.
You never know. Take a look at it and see where you can go with it. But
Okay.
you have 2 out of 3 at least for the most part, and I don't know. We don't have the other 2 members here tonight, but I think it's a good thing, and it looks good, and we're excited to have you guys opening and in town, so.
Great.
Welcome and good luck, and keep up the good work.
Well, we'll try to satisfy everybody's appetites, so.
It's never easy.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
All right. All right, next on the agenda, we have Mr. Greenberg. Come on up. Good evening, sir. If you would, set the stage for us.
Okay, I'm gonna be talking about a newspaper article by Lonnie Brennan in March that kind of shocked me. I thought the town had picked the right people to be selectmen and on the zoning board and the planning board, and I was really taken by this article. Talking about Phil Trapani, Steve Smith. Some of the comments in here were like way off the board, and I'd like to ask some questions about it, you know. First of all, I'd like to say this. There is a book that the selectmen have, I believe, the Georgetown Committee Handbook, number 11, Article 2.9, Other Terminations. In rare circumstances, such as continued unexplained absences of conflict of interest, the appointing agency may ask for a member's resignation or, if necessary, revoke the appointment. Prompt written notifications will be given by appointing agency in the event of such action, and that should be the personnel board. I'm the original, one of the original people that brought that personnel board to Georgetown. That's one of the boards I was on. I also feel that there'll be a conflict of interest if our town administrator it gets involved or overreaches the criteria of his hired positions and should not be even discussed or given to a town vote. That's my opinion, okay? What I'm upset about is, why be, Mr. Trapani, why are you a selectman in the town of Georgetown, a person who says that he's worried about what goes on in Georgetown and he wants to correct the problems in Georgetown? And I don't see that. And I don't hear that about you in Georgetown, or Mr. Smith, to be very honest with you. I'm very upset that this was not looked at when it came time for somebody to look at how many absences you've had on the board, okay? And to be very honest with you, I'm very upset about it. If I was still on a board and you were doing that, I would toss you off, and I would toss off Steve Smith, okay? I don't know why you're here. I don't know what it does for you. Maybe it feels good once in a while to get your face on camera. I don't know. You know, I hope I'm not insulting you, but that's the way I feel, okay?
Sounds pretty close to an
Yeah,
insult.
well-
So we're not here to insult people,
No,
and I
we're
will
not.
shut this down right now if you want to keep going that way.
I'm not
So
going that way. You didn't let me
You
finish.
just went that way, so. The
I
gentleman's been serving here for 9 years.
I know he has.
Okay?
Hang on.
So
Let him answer.
I'm not liking what
Listen,
I'm hearing
Mr.
right now.
Hackenberg, let him answer. That's all.
It's fine, I'd like to see the article too. Can you pass the article over here?
Well, I've got.
Because
some-
I haven't seen the article.
I've got some personal notes on it.
That's fine, I'd love to see the article. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
If you don't mind sharing it, I didn't
Oh,
see
no,
it.
that's fine. But don't get hot on the collar with me. You got the wrong guy to get hot with.
I'm not
Yeah.
getting hot on the collar with you. I'm just
Okay.
saying that you're getting on the borderline of being,
That was the borderline. I
The-
never go over the borderline.
okay, I'm just making sure you don't.
Okay, yeah.
Mr. Greenberg,
Yeah.
You don't know me, and I certainly don't know you.
I've watched you for 9 years.
Yeah, but you don't know me. And I will tell you that I'm the type of person that doesn't take any excuses, and I hold myself accountable, as I hold everyone else accountable out there.
Yeah.
What you may not know is, some of the reasons for the absences, which let me share with you, okay?
Okay.
So I had to go out on medical leave, where I had
Okay.
major internal surgery.
Why doesn't that article say that, though? He knows
I
you.
know,
He
so-
says he knows you real well,
Let me
that you're a
speak,
friend of
please,
his.
Arthur. Okay? So I was out on medical leave for 3 months. I had complications, and I was in and out of the hospital for another 3 months after that. So I think from a medical standpoint,
That
I think
covers.
those are certainly excused. And to the point where I had a near-death experience, and they had to revive me up on the table to come back to life.
I know what
Okay?
that's like.
All right?
Mhm.
Let me also share with you that, in addition to that, I was laid off at the same time, and I was out of work for 8 months, okay? So I'm gonna try to explain to you
Wow.
the facts, not the excuses. During that time frame, it was a tough situation for me, and it was a tough situation for my family. My health comes first, my family comes second. Everything I do in Georgetown and for Georgetown comes third. And I will share with you, if you add up the amount of effort and work that I've given this town
Yeah.
over the last 7 years that I've been on these boards, I probably average about 10 hours a week. So if you add that up, it's about 3,500 hours worth of work. That's just in meetings. If you add up all the time that I've given in the town in terms of going to all the parades, going to the community events, going to the high school and speaking with the students there, and speaking with the Council of Aging folks there, and going to the breakfasts and all that, I mean, there's probably 5,000 hours worth of effort and time. And let me give you an example of my week. This week, I have a meeting this evening. Tomorrow night, I have a meeting on the Georgetown Education Foundation. I'm a board member there. Thursday, I have a board meeting with the Essex County Veterans Association. I got about 12 hours worth of meetings this week alone. So if you're actually looking at whether I'm committed to this position, if I'm committed to helping this town, I think you duly have a wrong intent here this evening. And
I've
frankly,
been given
I
a
think this
wrong
is,
opinion is what I've been given.
yeah, and I would ask you why don't you call us directly and ask us, if you have these opinions instead of having them stew. And frankly, I think this is just a waste of time. Thank you.
Okay, I understand his position. I don't know what the other man's position is. Why would an article like that, and he says in the article how well he knows you and knows the other gentleman. Why that wasn't said is absolutely beyond me.
Arthur, I'm a humble person. I keep things personally.
So am I, and I'm a veteran. I'm a disabled veteran also.
Great, I served
I'm
in
an
the military
ex-ranger.
as well. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you this, okay? I don't care to have to tell everyone what I do for this town. People don't have a clue of all the stuff that I do. I don't really care. I'm not a person, I could care if I'm on TV. I've been doing this for 7 years. My kids don't think I'm a rock star on television anymore.
I did it for
I have
20
two-
on 4 boards.
I have two teenage kids I still have to get through high school and keep them on the right track. I'm going to give you a pass here tonight because I don't think that you had all the facts to that. So I'm not going to get upset. But I think that it should be recognized that anyone writing an article like that should look at the facts. And that
Absolutely.
article that Mr. Brennan wrote is complete garbage.
Wow. I'm disappointed in what I said. I'm disappointed in the fact that Mr. Lonnie Brennan put this into an article and made it sound like you were the demon that I thought you were, or the person that should be sitting on the board, and maybe the other gentleman is the same situation, okay? And I've come here with that as kind of set up, to be very honest with you, because I've been reading Mr. Lonnie Brennan's articles about this town for many, many years, okay? And he's somebody that's hurt our community, okay? I've been on 4 boards. I put a lot of hours in every week. I can appreciate what you've done. And people over the years appreciate what I've done. Mr. Fowler knows some of them. Okay, so I apologize. I was misinformed by that article. And I hope we never see any more articles from Mr. Lonnie Brennan ever again, because it's terrible. I'm embarrassed because I said it.
And I will tell you that in the article, and I'm not going to talk for Mr. Smith, but I will say this. Mr. Smith actually had a problem and was laid off in a job as well. And he was out of work,
Wow.
and he was looking for a job. He had to take a position like myself,
Yeah.
which is global or has national travel involved. And we have to deal with really tough schedules. We're all committed. I think that we're doing a good job. Whether you agree with how we vote or not, that's a different story. But we are getting the business of the Board of Selectmen done.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate
fine.
you
I'm
coming
sorry,
in,
you
and
know.
you know what? I just that's
You
what I
know,
was
maybe
saying.
I brought something out that should have been taken care of a long time ago.
No, you know what? I appreciate you coming forward, quite frankly, and I think we all do. And if and as a resident if you have concerns, we're here to hear them. So that's why you're here, and
Yeah, and I don't see
sincerely
that happening.
we
I don't-
sincerely appreciate you coming here.
Thank you.
Where
Mr.
I was getting a little hot under the collar was
Yeah.
you were just getting up to the
I know when
line.
to get on the line.
Exactly, and I wasn't
played you for
wasn't
that.
going to go there.
I
So
played you there.
we appreciate it, and you know, you've heard his story. I know Phil personally and professionally as on a board member here, and we all put a lot of time in. And
Sure.
it is, as you
Oh,
know,
I know
and,
what it's
and
like.
you've put a lot of time in,
I
and we
did. I put
appreciate
a
all
lot
your
of time in this town.
Yep, and we appreciate every minute of it. And obviously, you know, it doesn't come. You know, every rose has its thorns, so
That's
to
right.
speak. So
That's
it's not always glamorous.
That's right.
And it is a volunteer position, and that's frankly
Well, you
why
don't
we
have
ended
to
up
tell
going
me
to
about
5.
that. Yeah.
You know, we went to 5 because you
Sure.
can't always cover it with 3, and these two
I don't
gentlemen
know.
certainly are traveling a lot.
I have
so.
my ideas about going to 5. I think you created a monster.
No, it's
but,
good.
3 is
Help spread the love around a little.
Oh,
bit,
really?
you know what I mean? Help spread the workload. You know.
very good.
Yeah. So,
Well, thank you, gentlemen.
no problem.
I have
Thank
the
you.
article
Gary
back.
hasn't mentioned. Oh, yes. Sorry. I hadn't read it, so I just wanted to scan
Oh,
it.
yeah.
That's why.
No,
Thank
you
Could I
should
just
read
make
it.
a comment,
Did
Mr.
you read
Chair?
the whole thing?
I scanned most of it, not the whole thing.
I'd just like to make a comment, and that is, we don't all know each other real personally. I don't,
Gary and I aren't
I-
hanging out on Christmas.
I,
Eve.
I am aware.
Drinking apple cider.
I
there you
am
go.
somewhat
White
aware
lightning.
of the difficulties that many of us have all been through in the last years, and everybody does go through those difficulties. But sometimes I think it does take an article like that to open up eyes.
Yeah.
We have had trouble making quorums in the past, and I agree, Phil, that there are good reasons for it. You know, I am aware that Steve has just taken a new job and can't be here all the time like he used to be. But I do think that we need to work harder, and I have seen this more recently, at perhaps sometime even moving meetings ahead, rather than just saying, well, we can't be there, move it down the road or skip a meeting. So, you know, one of these meetings that we just, meeting minutes that we just approved had me in there making a comment that I didn't feel the board was working well together. And that was one of and I didn't get questioned on it, perhaps anybody didn't want to go there, but that was one of the things that if anybody had questioned me, that I would have said, we need to work more at having regular meetings and not just missing meetings. In other words, and we have been doing this. You know, we just recently had the meeting down in the basement on a Thursday night. I have seen, I mean, we have had a lot of improvement, especially with the town meeting warrant coming up, and we have worked hard. So I will say that I, as a board member, have seen improvements
That's good.
at this.
That's good. They're in it from you, Gary. That's good.
No.
Thank
That's
you,
what
sir.
has to take place.
You know, and thank you for all your service, seriously, because it's
I'm-
volunteers that make this town happen.
Yeah, I
So,
mean,
and
I
then
was
we
the-
have the professionals.
I was the
that get it done,
president
you know.
of 2 international computer corporations. I had my own Learjet, and I flew around all over the place, okay? I had 12 offices worldwide, okay? So I know what it is to be committed to your job, to come home and run to a Georgetown meeting to do something for the old timers, because I used to get nothing but phone calls. That's why I was here most of the time, and that's how I ended up on the boards. Okay, I mean, I'll give you one. The town of Georgetown used to pay the mafia for their health insurance. Did you know that? Till Art Greenberg showed up. I'll leave you with that.
Good, well, thank you,
Okay,
sir. You have
thank
a
you
great
very
night.
much, and I wish you well.
Arthur, I wish you well as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, have a good evening.
Take care, Gary.
Okay.
Take care, Stu.
New business, understanding warrant process and understanding process for payroll. Do we want to go through that, gentlemen, or do we want to kind of wait till we get a few more people here? Couple of the others. It's on our agenda, but I don't.
I've just been carrying them.
We're just carrying it right now. I think it's probably
Losing.
better.
Did anyone prepare?
You know, I think it's better if we have a full board where we can address it. Okay. So moving on to correspondence. Oh, okay, so we have the Mike Donahue Committee is looking to hold the annual Mike Donahue race Sunday, October 19th, 2014 at noon, from the Pearly School, so let everybody know about that. Do we need to take a vote on that or anything? We don't?
We usually.
We usually vote
make a
to
motion to approve
make,
it,
okay.
yes, and-
So gentlemen, I'd entertain a motion to approve the Mike Donahue race for Sunday, October 19th, 2014 at Pearly School, leaving from and ending, starting and ending at Pearly School.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion?
yes.
Yes, sir.
It's not gonna be a loud event, is it? It says they're having shooting.
We are shooting for, no, they're not
Oh, I was
shooting.
thinking of 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
No, no, no. They're aiming for. Oh, I'm sorry. That's probably not the right one either. They're
We
anticipating.
need to break, oh, okay.
Gary. Yeah, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 3-0. Thank you, gentlemen. Next is old business correspondence policy discussion and adoption. So we have a draft here. I'm just reading through it again. I just want to, I had a question on it.
If you guys are good with it, I'm good with it. I think it's straightforward.
No, I'm good. Any additions, thoughts on it, Gary?
I'm good with it.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to accept it as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. And I appreciate you bringing up the topic in general.
Well,
I think
thank
It's
you.
a good idea. Approve the layout street acceptance plan for Harmony Lane.
Is a vote.
So this is for street acceptance. This was approved at the last town meeting, I thought, right?
No, it's this town meeting.
It's coming
It's
up.
on the
Oh,
warrant.
it's on this warrant, okay. I'm confusing our town meetings then.
Yeah, we've gone over this with Howard before, right?
Right, it's come before us, right? You just have, the selectmen have to approve the layout, street acceptance plan officially, and then it goes to town clerk. It's already been through,
Okay.
town council, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the street acceptance plan located in Georgetown, Mass. roadway layout Harmony Lane as presented.
Second,
All right, any discussion?
just to procedure, do we take care of this now, or, I mean, this will be going to, it's on the warrant,
Goes-
It
correct?
has to be
Town
approved
meeting.
at town meeting.
Right.
Yeah,
But
It's
we
just-
pre-approve it or whatever you wanna call it,
You
right?
have to approve the layout.
Right.
okay, and
Town
so,
meeting accepts the
Accepts
and that's
it.
what, so by,
official
by
street.
signing
Okay.
this tonight, we will be approving the layout, and then it will be being taken to town.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
As I thought.
Procedural.
Thank-
Any further
Thank you.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. Selectmen's report. We are looking at spring, summer meetings. June 9, 23, July 7, August 4, 18, September 8, 22. Any issues, any?
I only put one in July for now, which Mike said we could add another one too. I think last year, we only met once in July because of vacations. And
Yeah, I think.
I don't know if anybody knows yet when they're gonna be on vacation. I mean, I can always add in a meeting later. I just
Okay.
kinda,
What's a
instead of putting a
vacation?
meeting in, yeah,
I don't know either.
family vacations.
Oh,
if you have
family
any.
vacations,
Yes,
right,
family
all right.
vacations.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I was just gonna question the one in July, but as Janet says in that, we could always,
We could add one.
add one if needed. I mean, I think it might be stretching it out a ways not to have a meeting, but
Okay.
that's the board's choice.
Okay, we'll play it by ear then, then that looks good. Do we need a vote on that, or no? We don't need a
No.
vote. Okay, so that's just an FYI.
Kind of an FYI,
Okay.
and if anybody,
Thank you.
if you knew already, or if you wanna check, let me know if any of those are.
Okay.
Can move them around.
Mike, on the, just backing up to the financial review, I thought I saw a semi-punch list that was a prioritized list that Steve sent around, or you sent around.
Yes, Steve asked me to.
Can you resend that? Because I was trying to locate it. I'd love to have us look at that on the next meeting if possible, if we've got room on the agenda to place it. Because if I recall, it was broken out. There was some admin things, there were some policy things, and then there were some long-term, short-term, and medium-term. And I'd just love to have a discussion with the board and look at it and see if we can get some of the things that we can get addressed as quickly as possible. And also, one of the big things that we were looking at in that financial management review was bylaw reviews. So, for the town bylaws, and I think it was your suggestion that that all the various boards review their bylaws, right, and come back to us or something?
No, that wasn't my.
I thought somebody had mentioned that the bylaw review would generally happen or should happen by the boards, individual boards. I might have misinterpreted what somebody was saying.
Generally, you have a distinct and separate bylaw review committee.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have them made up of
Board members and, okay.
But
Is that the best way you think to handle it?
I would like to see legal counsel review them.
Okay.
It would save a lot of time,
Mm-hmm.
because if people are gonna go making changes to things, it might be illegal to change them.
So one question then, like tonight's situations, legal wouldn't really come up with that.
No,
But
they,
the
no, they
ZBA or the
wouldn't.
planning board would. So that's why I'm wondering, are we a step ahead with legal first? Legal should probably come after people review it and make some suggested changes. I guess what I'm getting at is, I'd like to get that on the agenda quickly, to move forward so that we can get going on this and start giving, if we need to get the town,
Yeah, that's one of the things that
boards
is-
some notice to say, look, I'd like to set a deadline, for the late fall or something like that, to have people review and send recommendations up, and then if we need to, obviously compile them and get them up. But that's going to take a long process, and I'd like to get this
Yeah,
process started
that's
now
definitely the longest
rather than later.
term.
Right. But I mean, tonight's example was kind of prompting me to that, where there's definitely some things that should be done on our bylaws, and tonight was a perfect example of that. Giving ZBA some leeway on that signage where they can make a judgment call, versus a silent. The bylaw is completely silent on that. You know what I mean? Or this awning topic that we were talking about.
Yeah, I'd at least like to see some type of, somebody, a staff person or a consultant guide the effort.
Yeah.
Left to their own, it's a tough job.
Yeah.
I don't know if, it'll probably take meeting once a week for,
Wow. That's why I say
4 or 5 months
I
at
think
minimum.
it's something we
To
want to.
get people to do that during the summertime is gonna be.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I just we don't need an answer tonight. But can you give some thought about that, because that's something that I think we need to start on very soon, because it will be a long process, and to figure it out and figure out who's most capable of doing that and addressing it and everything. That's a big piece of where we need to go, and I think we can start biting chunks off it. But just give it some thought, I think. Any thoughts on that, gentlemen?
No, I mean, I think we just have to kind of lay it out, long-term and by priority.
Agreed.
My thought would be, where do we have problems?
Or else we're gonna be just creating lots of bylaws based on perceived issues that might arise.
Well, no, I mean, like, this is clearly, an issue tonight, that has come up.
Is that a s-
Code red.
Yeah, we're all getting a code
Flushing.
red. Everybody's
Hydrant
phones are
flushing.
buzzing.
What are
Our
those
code red's
things
happening right now,
anyways?
hydrant
Just
flushing.
Make sure it's nothing.
So it is what?
Two
The
hours.
suspect down-
anything, please call 911. If you see any cars or any people in the area that you do not recognize or they don't belong there, please call 911 so we can check them out.
It's a house
It's
burn.
not unusual
On
for a
Central
suspect to knock on your door and ask questions. If someone knocks on your door and you don't know them, please dial 911 so we can check them out. If you have any questions, please call the Georgetown Police at 978-352-5700. Thank you.
All right, so code red with a house break-in on Central Street?
Yeah, they had two similar brick smash, smash and dash.
Really? Today?
No, not today,
Okay.
just recently though.
All right, that's coming back to me. All right, enough on that topic, gentlemen, thank you. Anything, Mike, from you, town administrator's report, fiscal 15, ATM, STM?
Well, the finance committee is meeting one last time tomorrow, Wednesday night. I think I included you on a email I sent to them. After their last meeting, the very next morning, the budget became unbalanced.
Right.
And it has become further unbalanced as the 2 weeks have now passed. And we're about $136,000 out. I just got the bids in for the gas and price. My original bid went up 38%.
Oh,
And so I went out to bid again, and it came in 15% increase.
Okay.
But that's still well over $25,000. And
Okay.
and electricity, Dave Schofield has been trying to keep me updated, but even he doesn't know what, he just knows the electric prices are going up.
Yeah,
And he's told me it's gone up at least a cent and probably more. So I'm estimating at least a 10% increase in electricity next year.
okay.
So to balance the budget, as I recommended, and as we do in most years, we have hiring freezes. We don't add new people.
Yeah.
And I don't think we can afford it this year. And that would eat up most of that deficit. Because the new people, well, there was 2 new full-time people, and that's another $20,000 in real
In burden rate.
cost benefits.
Yeah, and burden rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that alone, those 2 people with the benefits that are over $100,000, well, way over $100,000. So,
Yeah.
and if the big unknown, we still don't know what the state's going to do. They said they set our Chapter 70 and our undesignated local funds, but basically our local undesignated local funds went down $39,000,
Right.
and the Chapter 70 money went up 79. So we're only what's that?
Yeah, 40.
40,000 to the good, and that's 0.91%
Right.
increase in state revenues. When the state revenues,
Up 5
by
something?
all experts in the state themselves, is up 5% this year, and they project another 5% next year.
So have you heard where the state's planning, where that extra money's going, where they're not giving it to the towns?
No, I don't know. And one thing that hit us here in Georgetown the hardest, there was and it wouldn't hit every town equally as hard, we have a large tract of state-owned land.
Mhm.
And the state would pay us payment in lieu of taxes,
Mhm.
because we can't tax that land. And last year, we got $179,000. Well, they're cutting it by $49,000
Right.
in the House budget this year. I sent an email to
Our representatives.
Senator Tarr and Representative Mira pointing that
Right.
specific issue out to them. I haven't heard back from either one, but.
So we'll demon dial them for you tonight.
Yeah, and like I said in my memo, this all could be cured with by the state with a 5% increase in revenue. But, I wouldn't hold my breath, and we'd have to, prepare for the worst at spring
Mhm.
town meeting next week, and then if things show up better, make adjustments in the fall.
Okay. Anything about the ATM or STM we need to talk about? No, we're all good. We're posted. Town meeting's next Monday, right, at 7 p.m.,
That's correct.
right, at the Georgetown Middle High School auditorium.
No, everything's good to go except the budget.
Okay.
Great change
If I
besides that.
Yeah, sure, Gary.
So,
Oh.
usually I make a lot of finance meetings this time of year, especially to see the presentations, what the people are bringing in, so I'm aware of it. And then when they get more into their deliberating and what they're recommending and that, I try to stay out of it and leave that up to you, up to them. Forgive me, but you're saying it may not be bad to attend that meeting on Wednesday. I might be enlightened.
Well, they're gonna have to do
Okay.
something.
Yeah.
And as I've told all the department heads for their last two deliberative sessions, that they really should attend, because they're gonna ask questions and, and make cuts.
Okay.
And if
That's
you're
this
not
Wednesday?
there, yeah.
Okay.
And the three largest, police, fire, and highway department heads have been there and been able to answer a lot of questions that the finance committee has.
Has the school been there?
They had their own, they were there a couple times as agenda items.
Yep, okay.
They haven't attended any deliberative processes, though.
Very good. Moving on to appointments and approvals, economic development, item number 7 here, reduce members from 7 to 5. So are we taking a vote tonight to do that, or is that's what we're talking about, right? And the history on it is they're having trouble getting a quorum, correct?
Yes. We
And you guys recommend?
met last Thursday. If we had reduced, we would have had a quorum. We did have 3 meetings.
Okay.
I have 3 members.
I did put a little history, yeah, I
Thank
did
you,
find some
yeah.
history on the makeup and how it was made up,
Yes.
so, just to help you to
I-
change it to know what it was and what you wanna go
I
with.
mean, if it got up and going, it was going really good, and we had things like what was here in front of us that we could earlier, and we got some individuals that were involved. I mean, the board could always just do the opposite and go back to 7, I'm sure. I mean, unless there's some special makeup. I know, Phil, you were really, I believe, involved in getting that up and started again. So that's, I don't know whether you had some special makeup that you thought of, like back in 2001, or?
When we were putting this together back in 2008, I think, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
2008,
2008, yeah.
we wanted to make sure that it was a combination of town hall board or committee members or employees and members of the community. And then I think I didn't read through the minutes here, but I think we agreed to like 3 from town hall and 3 or 4 from the community. And And frankly, I'm looking at the list, and a lot of these folks have been on it for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, so I can see without a lot of turnover, I'm sure these people are starting to get a little burned out from it. So, I mean, I'm fine. If we need to go to 5, to make this thing effective, let's do it. And, the question is do we just go from 3 town hall members to 2, and then down 3 business leaders on the committee?
We're 2 and 3, right?
Yeah.
Well, what would we, I mean, it's not exactly like a bylaw or anything, it was just how it was presented, and
Yeah, we can change it.
we could take care of that, just as we
Yep.
approve the,
So let me try this then, Mr. Chair. I move that we reduce the committee members of the Economic Development Committee to a number of 5 individuals, with 2 from Town Hall, being committee members, board members, or employees, and 3 business leaders in the community on the committee.
or, procedure thing again, where I'm a member, how
I'll
should I?
second it. I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I'm gonna abstain.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, gotcha. All right, that should help you out, Gary.
Yeah, might get a few more things done there.
Yes, I thank the board, and Janet, thank you for the history, and
Yep.
we are working on some new things this year, so.
Good, good. Like to hear that. So again, just a heads up to everybody, Monday, May 5th is the annual town meeting. And that's where you have the opportunity to vote as a taxpayer on how and what your residential taxes are. So we highly encourage your attendance, highly encourage you to show up, and remind your neighbors, and please get out to town meeting. It's next Monday, May 5th. The meeting starts at 7 o'clock. We need a quorum of 100 people, right? And we would appreciate you and your neighbors and family members' attendance there next Monday.
They have to check in.
Be there earlier than 7 because you do have to check in. So between 6:15 and about 6:45 is a good time to arrive, because you have to check in through your precinct, right? They have folks that'll check you off the voter registration list as being in attendance. So we look forward to seeing you there next week. We are going to go into executive session, so I make a motion, or I take a motion, or I move to go into executive session here to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the governmental body, and the chair so declares. We will not be returning to regular session this evening, so we appreciate your time, and have yourselves a great evening. I make the motion. I need a roll call vote.
In a second.
I need a second and then a roll call vote.
A second, but this discussion, we're doing that again on the second floor?
Yes,
Is that
sir.
what we're doing? Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
And, okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Fowler, yes.
Eichenberg, yes.
Yes.
Trapani, yes. Eichenberg, yes. Fowler, yes. Good. Good night. Thank you.